Hello, everyone. Okay, now our team is going to explain our micro lesson, which is about healthy school environments. Uh, our team is Cynthia, Anna, and myself, Luis. So let's begin. We designed this micro lesson for third grade students. So first we have the content, which is the Bloom levels. The first one, remember. The second, understand. The third one, apply. The fourth, analyze. The fifth, evaluate. And the sixth, to create. Uh, I'm going to talk about the first and the second one. So, first, at the remember level, regarding the 5C framework, we choose the culture because here students will talk about their own experience, what they have lived in their community, in the culture they live in. So here students will gather all previous knowledge they have on coexistence and the creation of healthy environments. So at the start of this micro lesson, the first thing is to listen to the teacher's questions and think of an answer individually. The main question for this part is, what does coexistence mean to me? And so when the students listen to these questions, they need to reflect for, I don't know, 3 minutes perhaps. And then when they have their answer, they need to write or draw on a post it the answer they choose individually and put it on the board below the question. So at the end, we have all the answer for all the students. As a group, we can discuss the different answers, the differences, the similarities, and other things. So this is the remember level. Let's continue with the next one, which is understand level. Regarding the 5C framework, we choose the content because here is where students will engage with all the topics that regards the environment in the school and the coexistence. So now's the time to learn specific concepts about the topic through multimodal tools. An audiobook with images depicting these topics may be useful in a classroom with different needs and learning styles. Why an audiobook with images? And this is something I did before for one of my classes. Well, a project. It was like 8 classes in total, but I use an audiobook with images for students in second grade of elementary school, and they really enjoy this activity because it was something visual. It was something they had to listen to, so it was very very liked by them. And I created an audiobook with the help of an AI to create the images. So I just write the story. The AI helped me to structure all the topics I wanted to talk. It was about environmental care, and I recorded the voice of the book with my own voice. So I reuse this activity for this specific macro lesson because it's something that uses a lot of concepts of universal design for learning. So I think it's a great idea to use these kind of strategies. So at the start of this part, the students will watch and listen the audiobook, the classroom where all fits. It's important that this audiobook has all the concepts that you want the students to learn. Okay, what is a good communication and between all the classmates, between classmates and teacher, what is a healthy environment, what is coexistence, how can we all coexist in the same classroom. All these concepts, you have to think about them and put them in the audiobook so the students can learn all those concepts. And when they finish this, they need to write the words that catch their attention and share them with all the class. And finally, they need to reflect on what's the meaning of those words and what context those words were used in the audiobook. They have to think about it in order to for them to understand what is the meaning of the word. It's important that they use it in a specific context. And if it's necessary, they can watch again the audiobook in order to refresh all of those words. And that's about it about the understand level. Now let's continue with the next level.
The next level is apply. For this, we chose the 5C framework communication. Here, students are going to apply the coexistence rules by practicing them in real life situation. This part is a very hand-on because it's about taking the ideas we talked about and actually using them in a classroom setting. Mm, First, we're gonna start by giving each small group a written scenario. These scenarios are simple, everyday situations that students might face. For example, two students want the same color pencil. A student keeps interrupting someone else while they're speaking. A student feels left out of a group activity. I'm gonna ask the students to read carefully and make sure everyone understands what is happening. I might say like look closely at the problem, think who is involved, what is the conflict, how does it make each student feel. Next, each group acts out the scenario, but instead of just showing the problem, they have to show a healthy, coexistent response. Um, I explained that healthy coexistence means using calm and polite communication, listening to each other carefully, using respectful words even if they feel upset, working together to find a solution that is fair for everyone, and give them examples like if two students want the same pencil, instead of just arguing, they can take turns or ask the teacher for another pencil, etc. Um, Also remind them that body language matters. Nodding, smiling, facing each other helps show respect. And after acting it out, each group explains to the class which coexistent rule they used and how their words, tone, and actions helped solve the problem. Um, The next level is analyze. For this, we chose a 5C framework cognition. Here, students are going to analyze different behaviors to think more deeply about coexistence. The goal is for them to understand why some actions help the group and other create problems. I'm going to give students two short written scenarios. One is going to show a healthy coexistent example, like students sharing materials, taking turns, speaking politely or helping each other. And the other scenario, in the other scenario, is going to show an unhealthy coexistence, like ignoring someone, interrupting, using rude language. I'm going to ask students to read both carefully and highlight the actions that make one positive and the other negative. I might say like look for exactly what students are doing or saying. How does it make other feels? How does it affect the group? I'm gonna guide them to compare the two scenarios. For example, in the healthy scenario, students listening to each other and help everyone feel included and respected. And in the unhealthy scenario, interrupting or ignoring someone can create confusion, hurt feelings, or even conflict. Um, then they're going to explain why the actions matter. For example, instead of just saying it's bad to interrupt, they can say interrupting make the other person feel ignored and can stop the group from working well together. Um, and after analyzing the situation, they're gonna reflect on their own behavior and ask questions like, which action do you want to practice in our classrooms, or which behavior should we avoid to make our classroom respectful and friendly place? Um, well, reflection helps everyone when they recognize good and bad behaviors. They can make better choices and solve problems peacefully and create a more welcoming class for everyone.
For the next level, we are going to evaluate, and for that, we are going to use the ability of communication. This activity, we are going to teach the students how to identify and classify behaviors that can contribute to a healthy environment. For that, previously to release the activity, we decided to talk about which behavior can help us improve a classroom. For example, if I'm sharing my crayons or I'm helping other students, this is a healthy behavior. But for example, if I'm being rude to them or being mean, this is not a healthy environment and it can delay delay and affect our classroom. For that, in the next activity, students will identify and classify behaviors that can contribute to a healthy environment. For that, they are going to need the net materials. I'm going to give each student behavior cards that have images and a simple phrase, such as sharing crayons, shouting in class, or helping out a friend. And after I'm giving them these cards, they are going to reunite in small groups together and they are going to decide whether is a healthy or not a healthy environment and they are going to place it under two posters that are labeled as healthy or not healthy. Once all the cards are placed, each student chooses one or two cards and explains to the classroom their choice. For example, sharing crayons is healthy because we help each other and we help to contribute to each other's works. And for example, pushing is not a healthy behavior due that it hurts others. After they communicate their answer about how a healthy environment can foster a strong social connection as well as community sense and a social comprehension, they can develop a better understanding of what a healthy environment is. The next level is create. In this activity, they are going to embed a new classroom rule and act it out. In this activity, the students create in small groups a new classroom rule and show it through a short role play for what they need to show for the creation of the rule. They need to see if this rule answers the next question. What problem does this rule solve and what happens if we don't follow it? Then the student represents the problem in front of the classroom, making an imaginary situation. Then they explain how this rule can help them resolve this problem. For example, if a student decides to make a rule called respecting each other's opinion, they are going to make a situation where another student doesn't don't respect another person opinion and they are going to make a student well, oh, maybe like I don't respect their opinion, they are going to start crying and how this rule can help them. Like for example, if I respect it, we are going to have a safe environment where everyone can contribute and share their opinion. Well, and in conclusion, we decided to use this topic because a healthy environment promotes learning, innovation, and creativity, as well as helping individuals and groups thrive. This helps students reduce stress and anxiety as well as being comfortable and creates a safe space, minimizes burnout, and a healthy environment values and respects differences, promoting a culture of belonging and inclusivity.